Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Join John series, where we will be interacting with a host of industry speakers. I'm John Vincent, co-founder of nicheBrains and the host for this series. Just a quick brief about nicheBrains. nicheBrains is a business transformation platform which connects millions of SMEs with the best of brains across the globe to adopt digital transformation, to help them grow their business exponentially, thus democratizing digital transformation. In today's session, we have a great, wonderful guest, Dr. Yerram Raju, founder and director of Telangana Industrial Health Clinic Limited, and a renowned international SME specialist. He's got about 28 years of bank experience with SBI in various capacities, whereas field experience as credit analyst was in agriculture, micro, small industries, and large corporates. His consulting experience was in agriculture, MSMEs, risk management, cooperative banking, corporate governance, and policy formulation in these sectors, and associated with World Bank, WTO, and in the union and state governments for the last 30 years. He was the regional director of Professional Risk Managers International Association for the Hyderabad chapter for about 6 years. He founded a unique institution at the behest of Telangana government for the revival and restructuring of manufacturing and of micro and small industries. He was also the International Man of the Year in 2001, and they won the award from the Sivaswani institutions as Teacher of Teachers in 2008, and addressed several international seminars across the globe on credit and financial risk management. He was the member of the jury of Asian Pacific Managed Bankers Congress, Manila in 2004 and 5, and for the industry awards of the government of Telangana. He's also authored and co-authored 4 books on MSMEs, 3 books on agriculture, 2 on corporate governance, 6 more on other disciplines in economic, and contributed to more than 2,500 articles to various economic dailies and journals. So welcome to today's episode, Mr. Yerram Raju. Great to have you interact with us today.
Thank you, Mr. John, for having me on the session today. I'm absolutely thrilled to share some thoughts to the audience on the subject of transformation, which is at my heart.
Yeah. So Mr. Yerram Raju, just starting on the topic for today. So in this age of digital transformation, how should MSMEs look at digital transformation for their organization? I will just probably bring up your presentation.
Fine.
All right. Yeah.
That their transformation, their growth is dependent on total digitization of their company. They derive lots of advantages like widening their customer base. They can integrate, all their activities also with their counterparts, and they can enable themselves to move strategically without wasting time in search of resources, and they can also enable achieving scale without mass. More is required for the micro small enterprise, and they can capitalize on network basis. Having said that, next slide. Having said that, I should mention what exactly they should do. What needs to be transformed in the micro, small, medium enterprises, manufacturing enterprises. We are not talking of medium enterprises in this session because medium are already digitized. And right. We will be talking, whenever I am mentioning about he, it also means she, because I keep both the genders equally. Right. And see, when we think of this, what the transformational mode they should get into, first comes to the mind location, where I should set up my enterprise. Is it because land is cheap? Certainly not. Land is cheap anywhere in India today. So land is beyond the roof today. The cost of land are beyond the roof today. But then, if location of enterprises is to be taken into consideration, would he like to have it close at home, or would he like to have it just because a friend of his asked him to locate the enterprise in a particular place, or is it going to be set up in a place where raw materials are easily available, or would he set up closer to markets? These are all questions that we will be able to address through appropriate search engines which are readily available like Google or many other search engines out there today, and they can easily latch upon a reliable search engine and get across which is the best area to get into. Can I get into an industrial park where all the facilities are available? Or can I get into a cluster where all the facilities are available? What is the way in which I can set up my enterprise? The first question that can be addressed very comfortably with digitization. Second comes, for this, he should have an open mind and he should be having the knowledge. At least he can get it by learning and listening. Neighbors, to the experts, and to institutions like you, he can latch upon for handholding. And then ultimately, he has to develop a business development strategy. What I found in most of the MSCs is they just have a little money, they have a product in mind, they just get into it, and then they think of doing business. That's not the way to go about for a micro small enterprise. They have to have a business development strategy, at least for next 5 years, where I'm going to lead my institution. They must have that. How many people I should engage, what type of people I should engage. These type of things, if he does not consider, and if he does not put on his platter before going to an investor, it will be difficult for him to create a trust in the enterprise by him. And trust is the key for either lending or investing by outsiders. Because I found the present environment for lending depends more on collateral securities and not so much on the trust on the enterprise. So he has to first create trust. Thank God it is a fintechs and NBFCs which are imposing more trust on the enterprise, which go by data, because data begets trust. And then he will be able to also communicate internally and externally very easily through the medium of digitization of the enterprise. He can, for example, if I am today talking to you from Canada, where you are in India, because both of us are digitized, otherwise it won't happen. And he should be also able to insure all his assets properly, so that he will be able to distance the disruptions in the supply chain. Right? You have different types of enterprises, and these enterprises are micro small. They are mostly like seeds, like biological organisms. A bird throws the seed or a man sows the seed, the seeds sprout, fighting the worms, fighting the ants, fighting the insects. They somehow come up. In a similar fashion, micro enterprise also comes up. It is not so easy just because he has money, he would be able to come up. He will be able to come up only when he thinks that he should be able to interact fast. He should be able to use the existing networks fast. And we will be discussing these aspects in great detail, because there are different typologies of enterprises. Micro and small enterprises are mostly providing forward linkages to the small and medium. And we are not going to talk about the medium, as I was mentioning before, because they're already digitized. And having said that, we will have to quickly see what is hindering them from really going through this particular process. Let us go to the next slide, please. What is hindering them for this process? Basically, it is access to cost, access to the digitization. Second, he can't just telephone and request a software firm to come and digitize his firm, because he just doesn't know how to evaluate a software firm. And having evaluated, doesn't know how to accept the costs. He may quote some touching his roof. After all, he has ₹1 crore investment, and if he invests half of it in land and half of it in software, what else he will have for running the enterprise? Therefore, it's very important for the enterprise to really think what is around him that is really kicking off for digitization. It is here, there are quite a good bit of change movers that have been introduced during the past few years by either the state government or the government of India. When I say change movers for digitization, it's basically networking. 2.5 lakh villages have been networked, and best communications have been set up across the board. We have been able to tackle COVID-19 effectively, mainly because of the digital transformation we had, mainly because many of the people had smartphones in their hands and so on. And then you have also, right from 2014, Government of India has introduced schemes like Make in India, Startup India, Stand Up India, Digital India, Skill India, whatnot. What type of facilitation that is required for growth of companies have been put in place by the Government of India, and several state governments also have put in, the effort, which will come to it a few minutes later. As I was mentioning, the digitization improves the customer relations. It, with low-cost technologies, efficient supply chain management is possible. E-commerce, particularly, will like B2B, business to business, or business to commerce, or business to government. Anything can go along with the e-way bills today, and people are very comfortable in dealing with institutions like Google, Amazon, or order through Swiggy, or so many common aspects that a person has to access are easily accessible through a mobile phone today. A smartphone is enough in his hands, and he is able to even, a farmer, for example, is able to even get across his professors and seek consultation for improving the production. That being the case, artificial intelligence and machine learning, these are all things that are moving ahead, even in the limited fields like agriculture, where the rural clientele who were supposed to not know, they knew many things that they could apply. In a similar fashion, even micro small enterprises, they should get rid of that mindset. They should get rid of that fear to get into this, because the ecosystem today is extremely beneficial for them. So I would move to the next.
So Mr. Yerram Raju, since we're talking about the ecosystem, so how is the ecosystem really helping these MSMEs? Maybe that's probably the next thing that you can explain to us a little bit.
Surely, because many people define ecosystem in different fashions. Right. I would define ecosystem, in one single sentence. I would say that it covers the effective interaction between various stakeholders, whether it is government, whether it is firms, whether it is, any of the aspects that he would like to get into, he can transact his business. The ecosystem is that one where policy advocacy, stakeholder interactions, institutional supports, and both from the public and private, and better communications and incentive delivery mechanism, all these aspects constitute the total ecosystem of an enterprise. Are they functioning in proper fashion or not? Is that what an enterprise should see? If he is finding such a congenial ecosystem, why he is not able to take advantage of it is one thing that he should seriously consider. And both the union and state governments are all out for introducing the ecosystem. Networking has improved, and I was mentioning all these facilitations that have come. If you look at, you should really look at our own state. Telangana state took a premier position in enhancing the ecosystem to be within the reach of the micro small enterprises. But are many of them taking advantage? Yes, there is one indication. Despite COVID, during the last 2 years, you will be surprised, only 143 enterprises, according to the minister's statement in Parliament day before yesterday, only 143 micro small enterprises collapsed in Telangana state out of lakhs. So we should see how strong this ecosystem has been. And in Telangana, the state leads from the front in policy initiatives. Widened and networked information technology initiatives are in place. For example, TSI Pass. One can start the industry even on the day he conceives of starting the industry. He doesn't have to wait for so many sanctions and approvals. Within 15 days, all approvals are given in a platter. If he doesn't get approval, it will be a deemed approval. Likewise, a T-Pride for Dalit entrepreneurs is a fast release of incentives for the Dalit enterprises. That scheme exists. And you have T-Hub for starters, V-Hub for women entrepreneur startups, and then Research and Innovation Cell of Hyderabad. Then you have industrial area local authorities. Then you have the only type of enterprise, Telangana Industrial Health Clinic Limited, which is set up only by this state, none other states in the whole country, nor in Asia, for revival and restructuring of enterprises. Why this revival and restructuring is necessary? Because you know, even the best of 500 fortune are never the same again. There will be some enterprises who will fail, who will not be able to pursue, but what about the assets that they have put in place? Why should they go waste? There must be a scope for either the entrepreneur reviving or for sale of the enterprise to somebody. Some effort must be there in that direction. And so digitization needs rapid inroads to address many of the institutions, and particularly the cooperation of credit institutions makes a lot of sense in this particular direction. And the enterprises should be at least cost. This is an area where I think some more effort needs to be done. Then you have lots of changes that are happening around the MSME environment. Like, you know, there are trade receivables, e-discount system like TREDS. Then you have the factors, you have various other interventions made by the government to make the ecosystem function very efficiently. Even Reserve Bank of India has lately put in the account aggregators, mainly to address the issues of information asymmetry. And that means the information I have as an enterprise, the financial institution may not have. The information one financial institution have may not be the other institution may be having, and or may not be having. Therefore, the bridge between the information lag will be addressed by this account aggregator, and there will be confidence for the lenders to lend to the micro and small enterprises through this medium. And then moral hazard will also get reduced automatically when data gets generated, because when data itself becomes strength. In fact, I recall what my MD 𝐜𝐿 was mentioning to the Economic Times the other day. He said the future world is going to be data security. And it's not going to be the collateral securities that will rule the lending. It will be the data that will be ruling, because he had an experience of the last 3 years, how he has moved. And during the last year, he has lent about 2,960 crores for the micro, small, medium enterprises. But then he did not, of course, mention whether how many are manufacturing and how many are services, because all the NBFCs, fintechs moved to financing the services area more than the manufacturing area, where we are talking more about the manufacturing area. Next slide. Having told about the pride of Telangana, I must mention the real pride of Telangana is in the revival and restructuring process, and that institution is Telangana Industrial and Health Clinic Limited. It paves the path for manufacturing MSEs to transform. Manufacturing MSEs to transform to not merely digital forms, transform in terms of strategies, transform in terms of the growth, and create confidence in the other lenders that they can lend to this sector more comfortably.
Wonderful. Very good, sir. So, so since you've been, working with, on the THSC panel, you're one of the core persons who's instrumental. So I'm sure you would have had some case studies with respect to some specific industries with the micro and small industry specifically. It would be great if you can give us some couple of examples as to how the transformation has helped these micro and small industries.
Yeah, very right. Let me just tell you a case study of this Telangana Industrial Health Clinic Limited, which has transformed 334 enterprises of this genre during the last 4 years, without itself having to invest a lot of financial resources. It may have lent money to a few industries, but majority of the industries have been revived more by introducing strategies, moving ahead with them, hand-holding them, counseling them, and so on. The one example I can straight away give you is the case of Surya Industries of Pashamelaram. A woman entrepreneur manufacturing PVC pipes, manufacturing PVC spiral wire, manufacturing a PP sheet, bookbinding, etc. And this firm is working with barely 9 workers. It approached the APSFC, in those days, State Finance Corporation, in 2014 for investment credit of 2.25 crores. But then they had given 1.5 crores. The balance has not been picked up. That means it started with a lower level of investment than planned even originally.
Right.
It may be because of hesitancy or because there are other circumstances that have prevented him to withdraw. Institutionally, there might have been some lags by the SFC to release the rest of the amount. Whatever be the reasons, he has invested low.
Right.
And the moment he was referred to us by the SFC itself, that this fellow is becoming a non-performing asset, can you do something about it? The first thing we insisted on the enterprise was, are you prepared to digitize?
Right.
Then he said, tell me, sir, what I should do, how I should approach. So we have attached to him one firm, software firm, who could sit with him, customize his resources, set up a consent-based ERP architecture of very low cost. And that cost, we said we would make it part of our investment in the firm.
Right.
We have given 25 lakhs to him, whereas that equal amount was amount of subsidy that was lagging behind for delivery. With this 25 lakhs cash that he had in mind, he was able to clear all his EMIs and create confidence in SFC that this firm need not be put to bankruptcy.
Right.
They can be trusted for growth. This confidence we have given after having done due diligence about it. The firm can run. And why do you throttle the firm? And we are there behind it. So we handheld the firm, we counseled the firm, and we allowed it to work in a manner that it could realize the cash flows as projected earlier, with the result within 6 months, whatever that it could, capacity utilization it had earlier, just about 50%, it moved to 100% within just 1 year, within just 6 months, and with a small bridge loan of 25 lakhs given to it.
Wonderful.
The saga of Surya Industries.
Wonderful.
In the case of another industry, a similar unit, which is in a Deccan pulverizers unit, placed located in Targondapalli, a rural area in Mahabubnagar district. And this is also by a woman enterprise. You'll be surprised. And she approached us, telling that she is manufacturing, silica potash powder from quartz or feldspar mineral stones, and she is employing 27 workers. Her husband is associating in marketing of the products, and that there is severe shortage of working capital that has pulled them down. In addition to that, they also face the problem of pending resources with the government, incentives with the government. So she requested, why don't you speed up the resources that should come from the government? We said, yes, we will try our best, but in between, for immediate relief, we will provide you critical amount funding.
Okay.
What is critical amount funding? Whichever makes it run the enterprise immediately.
Right.
Within 24 hours, we have sanctioned critical amount funding of 25 lakhs that with a reduction in rate of interest, because for women entrepreneurs, we charge 1% less. At 9% in those days, where the banks were giving at 14-15% and SFC was giving at 17%, and with a penal interest of 2% over that, she was able to get it at 4% less this money.
That's
at
good.
9% she got the money, and she was able to immediately revive her enterprise. She paid off the EMIs, she revived the enterprise, she created confidence, and she was able to touch another commercial bank for working capital. So working capital came through, and her 50% utilization could come through. Even though the firm faced a natural calamity when some of the part of the sheds have been really ruined in the natural calamity, they have to rebuild the sheds, put the entire capacity to full utilization, and within 6 months, the capacity utilization moved to 80%, and within the next few months, they are touching 100%. Their turnover moved from 90 lakhs to 145 lakhs. And this is the stock of another enterprise. There are a number of enterprises where such help has been rendered by the TIHCL. And you may be knowing what is the greatness of this institution.
Yeah. Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Good to know, sir. These case studies which you have done. So, any final thoughts for the audience to take away as well, sir, today?
Yeah, I would say data and due diligence are going to play the vital role for an entrepreneur to really go about. When the TIHCL started, we started basically with trust. Whoever comes to us, listen to him, believe him, whatever he is telling is truth until he proves wrong. He or she proves wrong. And the diagnostic studies that we do, the cooperation, collaboration with the primary lending institutions that we do, the hand-holding, monitoring and counseling that we do through consent-based ERP solutions, as we have done for the case studies I have mentioned. These are all the interventions that have become successful. And the way forward, therefore, lies for the entrepreneurs in first changing their own mindset.
Right.
The first thing that they should, next slide. See, access. How does he access a software firm? I'm sure, I don't know your experience because you're a software guy, you will be able to easily telephone Microsoft. Who is the right guy to telephone, you may be knowing. But as a micro small enterprise, he can't get through any medium or big software firm to help him in digitization. Impossible. So the best way, there must be a government intervention in this area where they could find a bunch of startups to work with micro small enterprises, to sit with the enterprises, handhold them for this with the software, make sure that the supply chain, after all, a pharmaceutical firm manufacturing medicines or tablets. A small example. And thoughts are required. Screw type caps are required, bottles are required. All the three components are produced by micro small enterprises.
Right.
Therefore, the supply chain of the large firm is front-ended by micro small enterprise. This front-ending of the supply chain, if the front end is not working properly, how do you expect the supply chain?
Right. So we lost you. Okay, I think we lost him.
Should be able to afford the software. So it must be available at low cost. Right. After all, for the small supply chain he has, if he invests huge money, he would not find investment for working capital. So it is important that he should be able to get software. He does not know how to assess the firm and validate the firm. Verify. Only when some accreditation of the software firms to the micro small enterprises is done by a government agency or a federation or an association. Then it must be plug and play. It should not be very difficult for an enterprise to really run the software. It must be a standardized product. For this, there is a lot of advocacy that is required. If you want to change the mindset of a person, you must have a good advocate for it. And then hand-holding. And once it is done, I'm sure the sector will move to high growth competitive advantage. The world is wholesomely intertwined today. A firm in India can get across a firm anywhere in the world with ease and comfort if he is digitized. Once we are able to get him across these advantages, I'm sure the MSMEs will move very fast on the agenda, and they will prove to be strongest front-enders of the supply chains for the medium and large enterprises. There is scope for large enterprises also to invest with the micro and small firms, or at least facilitators like us. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. So I'm just quickly, summarizing some of the thoughts that you've shared with us. So one you're saying is that SMEs are pretty much spread in every sector of the economy, and they are the seed enterprises, right? So they have actually a supportive ecosystem from the union and the state governments to digitize their transformation paths. And then they have the front-end supply in terms of the supply chains of medium and large corporates, adding value to the economy. So what they require is probably easy access advocacy and customized standard solutions at low cost and handholding to probably move fast on the transformation path to growth. Obviously, the data builds trust and makes stakeholders help them grow, and trust biggest trust, right? So that were some of the thoughts from you. So thank you so much, Mr. Yerram Raju, for sharing your insights today with us. With that, we'll open it up for a few audience questions.
Wonderful.
Yeah, there's any questions from the audience, you can please ask them right now, and Mr. Yerram Raju will be happy to answer them.
Hi, sir. Firstly, thanks, John, bringing me in this call. Sir, I appreciate your knowledge in this area, and you shared a lot of inside information, how to approach MSMEs and all those stuff. But let me introduce myself. I'm Srinivas, sir. We have a company called Yerram. We have started this company in 2017. We are into deep technology like artificial intelligence and machine learning, sir, especially. And we tried a lot to get MSME loan, being it is in software industry completely. We could not able to get, we ran pillar to post to get some kind of funding from MSME to take it to the next stage, but we failed in because all MSMEs, banks or MSME also saying that if we are into manufacturing, they're ready to give the funding, but being into software, they're not ready to fund us. So is there any way we can get as a software company can get an MSME funding, sir?
Yeah, of course. I was also mentioning that my talk is mostly about the manufacturing MSCs, not the service sector enterprises. Yours is a service sector enterprise. Still, lots of service sector enterprises have been funded by either angel funding institution. Lots of startups have been funded, highest funding taking place in India. Therefore, if you have a very good valid idea behind your software firm, I'm sure you don't look to the banks for lending. You look to an investor for investing with you, and he will be able to really go ahead with you. If you have a good idea, today startup is getting excellent funding. There should be no issue at all. But if you go to the banks, yes, banks today are chary of lending for MSMEs, but they're not so chary of lending for software firms. They are really soft towards software firms, I would say. And therefore, you should catch hold of a good banker who is thinking on the same lines, you can go to any of the private banks like Yes Bank or HDFC Bank or any of those guys. They should be able to assess, or even the large among the NBFCs. Quite a good number of NBFCs are interested in funding the software firms. You can certainly go ahead with any of those companies. Or by the by, what is your level of investment?
Sir, so far we have invested from our side, and we have not gone to any kind of loans from bank or something like that. We built almost 20 people in the organization, and we wanted to do some kind of research and bring. See what is happening, sir. Nowadays, a lot of people are talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning, but it is not a matured science so far. With having a good understanding, because I myself into industry for almost 25 years of experience in IT industry. My other co-founder also having 22 years of experience. So as like we are like-minded professionals, we wanted to do some kind of research in AI and ML and then bring some kind of products into the market. That is where we wanted to do. In spite of not getting any funding, we could raise almost 4 crores by 2000 a year, and we invested on servers. Like we have to do a lot of research and a lot of iterations to bring the fine solution in artificial intelligence. So we invested almost the month of February 2000 for procuring of 3 servers, almost 4.5 crores of our personal money. Due to Corona, everything went ruined. So I mean, we could not able to, because the machine was not delivered to us, because across the globe the Corona wave started, and then our plans were ruined. And I mean, we did not anticipated Corona is going to hit us, and I mean, we had to, I mean, throw away those servers for I mean.
I could get the problem that you have faced. Basically, research institutions are not institutions that should approach a lender, because delivery of research institutions is of longer duration. It means capital will be stuck until your ideas get into commercialization. Research and innovation are not institutions that are fit for lending. Therefore, banks must have rejected your loan. Now I get the right reason for rejection of the loan. Second one is, for institutions like yours, you should tie up with existing research institutions. For example, you can approach Rich and seek their ideas. They will be able to help you, or even IIIT, they will be able to help you, because they have put in place a lot of skill building and reskilling or upskilling of the persons engaged in AI and ML. And I'm sure you will agree, putting servers is a very costly affair. You should have gone to cloud, and cloud can be hired today. It need not be owned by. And reliable cloud facilities could have really taken you much farther and faster. Of course, there may have been some issues in reaching out to the people who can set up these facilities for you. That may have been the major reason, as I was mentioning even in the beginning. For any company today to reach a reliable software company or professional is extremely difficult. And that is where the glitch lies. I'm sure you will be able to overcome once you get in touch with either the Principal Secretary Industries and Commerce, Principal Secretary IT, basically Principal Secretary IT of Government of Telangana, or Principal Secretary or the Director Rich will be able to help you out.
Yeah. Thanks for that, sir. We also, I mean, did some work for DRDO also. They got, I mean, they are facing some issues, so we developed and gave the solution. And they asked us the proposal also for implementing that across country. We gave the proposal, but now what happened is they were trying to do from Delhi headquarters. They shared this proposal to Delhi headquarters. They were trying to do that at pan-India level. So I don't know how far we're going to get that project as well. Now, so like this, we are trying our level best to approach research organization like DRDO or something like that, and they are also appreciated our solutioning and all those stuff. But what happening is we are facing a lot of issues because of funds crunch, and then a lot of investments we brought in from the known sources from families and friends circle. So far, so this has become a very burden factor for us. Thanks for your advice, sir.
Yeah. All right. Srinivas, I would also suggest, if there's something further, probably, we can connect you offline also with Mr. Yerram Raju, probably later, beyond this session too. Right?
Thanks.
All right. Yeah. Anybody else has a question, please?
So this is Lakshmi here. I have a question. Unfortunately, my video seemed to be not working. So my question is, having observed you closely, not just through this session, but for quite many years. So you have been in from the pre-internet, pre-computers, pre-mobile era, and to a AI kind of cognitive computing. So you kind of seen the transformation of the environment, the business for multitudes of times as such. So how would you compare the transformation which is happening today with when you started, sir? Like what do you see as the changes or driving forces, and what do you see that as which will have an impact? If I'm an entrepreneur in 1970s to what I am today, so what how do we handle these things? So these are, because having seen these multiple transformation, I believe that your inputs will be of great value to all the business owners here.
Yeah. See, basically, the sector suffered for nearly 2 decades. Entrepreneurs were not entertained for longer discussions with the lenders. And lenders did not have enough time and resources to spend with the entrepreneur to know really his problems and resolve them. Basically, it's a question of dialogue with the entrepreneur that needs to happen. And most of these issues that the enterprises today have been systemized thanks to digitization. What we should realize, what is the difference between the past and the present is several of the issues that we had in the past are almost systematized and digitized, and digitized solutions are available for quite a few problems. But where the solution lies is not within the reach of the entrepreneur. So what the people like us who are working in strategy should do is to take them, handhold them, and tell them that this is the area, this is the person, this is the institution where you can get your facilitation. If we can do this simple thing, I'm sure quite a good many will turn their corner. This is what exactly we have done for the firms that have come to us. The second thing I would suggest, as I mentioned in the way forward, is how best we can reduce the cost of these software applications really within the reach of the entrepreneur, and then what difference he finds when he has to put up a server for this thing, or when it could really go through just a mobile application and an app would do, or whether he has to keep in cloud solutions, or the internet is enough for him. Because we have seen ourselves during the conversation 2-3 times we had interruption on the internet, and therefore it's not as though that everything is hunky-dory with the digital solution will give. There are some glitches which we have to overcome, and which we will overcome when the scale takes place. And every micro entrepreneur would like to move to the next stage. And how do we facilitate him to the next stage? Likewise, every small enterprise would like to move to the medium stage. How we can handhold him to go to the next stage? What are the facilitations and how much time we can give? Because I can tell you with my experience, no micro enterprise has got any vision document with him, or he has any idea of what next 5 years is going to be for his product. He does not have that whether he should move from the sector to another sector, he does not know it. Therefore, there are many issues like this which we should be able to really help. But then during the past few years, government has put in a lot of measures, And it has come up with a lot of apps like Samadhan portal or RAM. They're all easy access for the governmental facilitation. All these things have come about for the entrepreneur.
Right.
That's fantastic, sir. In fact, I think that's very, very valid points you have mentioned. As you rightly said that the MSME, MSC owners are stuck with the day-to-day challenges. And that's exactly we try to address in nicheBrains is that we start with assessment as to where they are and then where they want to go. And then we provide access with the global experts who can help them to reach the goal and then at an affordable engagement. That's the kind of effort that we do, apart from various other initiatives which exist in the ecosystem. Really appreciate sharing these thoughts with us, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. I think we are already overshot the time, but I think we had some good question and answer session as well with Mr. Yerram Raju. So again, I just like to, probably we have to wind up for the session for the day. So thanks a lot. So for all your inputs, Mr. Yerram Raju, I believe there's a lot to take away for the audience today. So if anyone would also obviously like to, get connected with Mr. Yerram Raju for a one-on-one session, obviously you can reach out to me at either the support@nicheBrains.aa or directly to me from john.vincent@nicheBrains.aa. So thank you, Mr. Yerram Raju, for once again for being with us here today on this episode.